Hello everyone. So this is the video for helping get acquainted with the Synchronos application. Kind of a first one, improvised, not edited, yet very straightforward on what you're gonna receive if you start using this product. So first of all, on this nice landing page, you can have some features of what it does. We'll want to focus on that. We'll just imagine if we want to try it and replicate the new user flow. So we got to start from register. I click try it for free here, put some test email I have, and I click register. Verification email is sent to this email. So I go there and so here we go. There's an email. I'm just click to verify our account link and being redirected to onboarding. So system asked me to provide a secure password. I'm gonna use one of my placeholder for that. So keep me logged to the device. Yes, why not? It's gonna log you out every 14 days, so it's very convenient to have it there. And yeah, you can read about terms of services and without breaking your onboarding flow, it's open in the separate tab, and I'm okay with that. So click on register and continue. So it's about my name. I'll put it like here. Location is Kiev. Yeah, I'm here right now, maybe. And avatar, I don't think it's necessary, but I have something not so far, so just showing the feature it works. Okay, nice. Now I'm here, completed the profile. I can get to the main application, or I can create a team, which I don't mind to do because I don't have any information there. So I'll call it Alpha team. Okay, Bravo team. Okay. We can add team members here. I'm not gonna do this, so I simply click times and go next. Project Bravo. I don't have client there. I'll just, probably it would validate me. Yeah, just put the client name. I think it's one type. I would call it ABC. Now you're in Synchronos officially. So what you have right now on this panel, like a quick overview, you have hybrid modes for view. Like you see, there's like, it's expected for me to click the chat on the left. If I go here, I don't have a chat widget, or I have full chat mode. So it's very convenient. Right now, I'll remove this. So what you're gonna do in the first place is just to learn a little bit about the menu. This is your project, your client. If you have it one, you just use it just to have reference. Then you have dashboard. It says no current milestone. Then there is a roadmap, team, budget, task board. Everything you need is here. What does it mean continue project creation? Is that we just created a placeholder for project. There is not too much information about this, like task board is empty. Of course, there is no budget as well as milestone, so it's like completely blank. So I'm gonna go to continue project creation. It's supposed to provide me the team members, which I don't have, so I'll go create one. Yeah, let me call it Vladimir Worker. I'm gonna use the same email. Just a W. It's good for testing. The role type worker. I'm gonna create a new role. Let's call it, I don't know, developer. Okay, nice. Saving. So now we have him. Well, likely I gotta refresh the page. Even though we're gonna have real-time updates soon. So here's the Vladimir Walker. Allocate him like for, I don't know, 25 hours a week. Now it's important type of the put in rates. If you have sort of like organization which has different rates for salary and for would it be a client for, have somewhere here, and this is step you can ignore if you don't have contract or don't want to use this. We don't want to use this for the sake of simplicity. Vladimir, and this is the client details, so I call it Vladimir client, and instead of W for worker I would put C for client. There's also there are two checkboxes for tasks and chat permissions, which technically either blocks or instead enables opportunity for your client to chat with you or see the tasks. We didn't test it actually with the clients who doesn't need that. We just showcase that such opportunity exists. So we always have it checked there. This is a summary. You can do nothing about that. It's already created, so you just confirm, but it's already there. Now you have publish project button here. What it means is that you have created this project, but it's it's meaningless right now because you don't have any information. And why we did that, we made the separation between the stage when you have the project, which is not ready to be shown to the client, and when you're ready to showcase. So let's say I have a brand new client. I'm in a negotiation stage and I'm not ready to sign the contract. So before I invite him to the platform and show something like a quote which most of the clients I expect from you, and instead of using Google Docs, I'm gonna plan that. So my next step would go to roadmap, and here is the place where you create milestones. You have the stats, and this is your journey. This is where your journey begins. So first of all, I'm gonna create a new milestone. Let it be May, and let it end in 1 month from now. It's cool, and I can select time and material and fixed price. The only difference here, we probably need to add a note, is that for time and material, your client gonna see much more information regarding how the progress is made so far. We'll talk about that later. And well, they technically would see how much they're gonna be charged based on the work done. And fixed price is like relatively straightforward, of course. You can just put the estimations, ask to put the estimation by your team, and they will end up dictating the cost of the whole product. So from these tasks, the total cost would be configured. So I will start with the fixed price. I can actually change it anytime to time and material, so I will do that. And it's very convenient that you can do this relatively quickly. So right here, without going to task board, which is more instrument for project managers, your project managers, you can start creating tasks one by one. So let me just put something like authentication. It's Google that helped me because I use this as an example many times. Put some description like implement authentication with reset password and email verification, something like that. There is a full featured editor which you can format whatever you want, and it's already have milestone here, and this task isn't created yet. So in order to see more functionality, I need to create it. So you can either hit enter or click the create task. So now it's created. Alongside of the task, the chart is created. Right now I'm just clicking it too fast, maybe not too fast, but it's in the proper progress. Okay, now it's done. So I have this task, it's cool. Now I can assign someone like Voldemir Walker we have created earlier, and I can put the estimation for him. Like I know that this task would take 10 hours to create. Based on this information we have about the rates of this work and this estimated time, we already have a task cost, and this is exactly what client want to see. Maybe they would love to see a little bit more detail. So what we're going to do here, we just put 0, and we can represent the whole task based on its components, like reset password. We have mentioned in the description would be a separate task. Then I can create, I don't know, email verification. I don't know, authentication form, whatever. And this is more detailed thing, and I encourage you to use to invite your team members. We already have invited one, so they can go there. You can ask them, hey, can you please take the task you need and just estimate them. This is what we do usually, what we usually did with other users, because this way you distribute your efforts, and slowly but steadily you can see it had the time here and here in the summary, and it would total up, it will add up to the cost. So let me just quickly assign the same worker for this task and for this task. Okay, let it be 11 hours. Okay. Everything updates in real time. Nice. So I also can create the priorities here. This is more for like the time when you work in progress. There's different level of priorities. I can assign a stage lead, the person who would be notified when something, finished here, like, hey, I have committed this code, it's done, please review my code. So they're gonna receive these notifications. And the stages, which is more for project managers. So this is a quick overview of everything here. And most importantly, you can have a conversation here with the client and developer. You can simply add, yeah, I don't know why it's duplicated, but anyway, the client's going to be here as well. So you can just tag them. Like I have not, we don't have him in the system because we have not published the project, which makes sense. So that's why you can't invite him here, but you can do this later. Technically discuss every feature. Like sometimes they're not agree with the estimation, of course, and well, you end up having a conversation like what they can do to what you can do to make sure it fits the budget. So if I go back, I would like to talk a bit more about this interface here. So we already know how you can add task. If you have created task somewhere, but it's not within this milestone, you can just type this name and add it here. You can also have a communication ledger with the client where they can just adjust the scope, like delete this task if they don't need it, or the whole group of tasks. It's smartly grouped in this way. So there's a sum of all subtasks, which is very cool. And for you as a company owner, you can see the margin, projected margin, projected time as well. Well, projected time is available to everyone, but for projected margin, it's different. So on the left side, you definitely want to see your expenses, and on the right side, it's a client budget. So you might probably also want to know what would be the projected budget for the rates you're paying for your team. This is a different thing. We'll cover that later. But for now, it's important. It's a task cost. So you might wonder what client would see. So that's why we have client budget. Right now it's 0. Let me refresh the screen. Actually, it shouldn't be 0, to be honest. Yeah. Oh, it's not 0. I'm just saying that 0 on the side because it's nobody has spent the time. So what's the difference here? You as a company would like to see pay rates here. So like if a worker we have created has $10 per hour, you want to see what is the actual amount you have spent, so you can understand your current margin, like gross margin. And for client budget, they definitely are gonna see the B-label rates, and this is like $30 per hour, and it would be like this amount in total that they're gonna track when they track 23 hours. So this is very convenient, and you also know that client don't see information they don't need, as well as your team members. So we have this heading on every tab. So like there's a team, budget, etc. So you understand where you are at. Now, before we move to other tabs, I want to switch straight to a budget because there's a very important thing we had with some other clients that they don't just have the task budget. It doesn't make sense to create the task for everything. Like if I have a business requirements analyst, they can't they can't estimate their time. So we just put the fixed padding, like I don't know, 1,000 US dollars, and call it like BRA or like technical requirements analysis would be more appropriate. And this is sort of a thing that you still can track. You can track it with this application, but you don't know how much exactly they're gonna spend. So when worker track time here, he can do this by tracking per task, or they can track just using general tracker on these projects, not assign it to specific task. And this is exactly the budget for such let's say less controlled things. And yeah, there's also some stats, like you could see nothing here of course, but if we put the work into work, it's going to be filled up. I'll put the video on pause to show you this. Well, I actually decided not to just track some time, but also show a worker panel here because it has a little bit different view. So what's interesting about that is that we have an idea in mind to make worker panel kind of independent and scoped to what they do. So they don't need to see these task board unless they go there and they need this. They don't need to have some dashboard and other information that can just distract them. So they have this convenient panel which shows all of the tasks they are being assigned at this moment. We're gonna have also milestone filter, of course, so you can prioritize them per milestone basis. And well, that's it. They have a task, they can start tracking. And before I start track and put on pause so you can so I can generate some data for you, I would like to talk a bit more about these two trackers and why it's important for your organization. Um, because there's a time that your worker going to spend on the task. You want to have the pure experience. You want to track purely this time so you can understand how much time is spent per specific task, no matter that you talk or whatever. But there is also general time, like they start their working day, chat with their colleagues, discussing some problems on general level, whatever. And it's better not to track per task in this way. So this way your books are very clean on what you spent and what you allocate for your engineer, and you also give them a freedom. On the other hand, you also understand the difference between the time tracked per tasks, and the time tracked outside of the task, so you can evaluate the efficiency. So I'm gonna click play button here. As you can see, it shows me that I don't have estimation, and usually you should probably track per subtask if you have subtasks there. So here's an estimate time. I click play, and now I enter weekly check-in, and this tool just simply asks you like plan your task for the week. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We just let know that we're gonna work on the reset password. No, I think authentication form for. Yeah, I can go this way. I can just type like 5 hours. So that's all I plan to do, and probably reset password tomorrow for 1 hour. That's it. That's probably kind of a lazy example of what anyone would do. So let's take a look quickly about what we have here. There's like a calculation of days left, the priority which would be different and sorted in the appropriate way. And this planning definitely helpful if you have all processes in place, because your project manager, like everyone, would see what you are up against. So that's exactly what you would need to train your team for if you want to have as much information as possible. And this is just for demo purposes. In reality, you would ask them just to plan the whole week. Oh, of course, given they have enough tasks. So one last thing I want to check is that I don't remember how much time I estimated there, but let me put something unrealistic. You see, numbers become red because it's highly unlikely you work more hours than it is, 16 hours. So, whoa. Yeah, I gotta reduce the overall limit. Per day, we put this some limit because we don't believe someone would work more than 16 hours a day. It's kind of insane. And there is also limitation on specific task. I don't know, let me put like more than we have estimated. So yeah, it allows me to go there and go with this planning, even though its estimated time is only 5 hours. Yet if they reach overtime, it will be seen here. So um, let's get back to the time when I have some time tracked. I also gonna stop the task time tracker at certain point. So there's a difference between global time and task and the time tracked per task. Okay, nice. So I have tracked 21 minutes total and 12 minutes 37 seconds for this task. So that's probably it. There will be interesting stats generated for us here. So as you can see, the budget planned is something that comes from the check-in, and we planned a lot of stuff for today. So it's this amount. You see this, dollar amount value. There's also like time amount value, like planned for 32 hours, which is not, no, 32 minutes, right? Yeah. No, 32 hours. That's a lot. That's something that we should draw your attention. So what's important here is the spend on task time is, let me check. Oh, it's 8 seconds. So it updates every 10 minutes. This is made for performance reasons. So in 10 minutes, it will grow up to the actual amount of, let me double check, 12 minutes. Yeah, so you can see all of the information here, and it will accumulate day by day. Now, what's interesting, the spend without task. We won't have this information, even though if we update later. It's because there is a very strict approach when your team track per task of the milestone. There is always an active milestone. I'm going to talk about this a little bit right now. So you probably have seen this button published here. what it does, of course, your project has to be published for it to work in the full force, but it just sends an email. No, in the publish, it doesn't send the email. It make the milestone available for a client. So I'm gonna show you from the client perspective a little bit later. Right now that he should see the milestone here in the roadmap, so no tricky thing here. So he can go there, provide some feedback, change the scope. And the next step in the milestone status is we put this in the convenience here because there will be the teams who doesn't need a client, so they can just update the status for themselves, so I can just activate it. This is usually done by client, of course, like he's agreed on the scope you have provided and the budget and everything else. And everyone in the team going to receive an email notification that the milestone is activated. So it technically should become a trigger for project managers to talk to their team and to tell them like, hey, we can start. But since everyone is receiving this message, it doesn't need to be this way. They will already know that. So what's important about the active status? Once we read that, it will be propagated to the dashboard. So now it's not empty with no active milestone. It shows you a lot of cool, neat features we're going to talk about a bit later. And mostly importantly, is that it's going to track time for this milestone into the spent without task section. And it will be calculated here. So this is very important because otherwise system wouldn't understand to which milestone it should calculate to the time your team member spent without the task. And it's very important for you to keep the budget tight so people are spending time for active milestone, not for something not prioritized. Once the milestone is finished, you can let your client know by holding and clicking the finish. They will receive the message, and again they can confirm that by holding and clicking completed. This is what they're gonna see. Now, what other tabs can tell us? The distribution of the task per team. That shows you the overall workload. You can see how much time is allocated per this user per this milestone. Could be of any length, but it will give you a good perspective. The same as client and budget usage. This is again, left number is what your client is paying for, like billable rates, and this is payable rates. You see they're smaller, and the difference is your margin, of course. There is also projections, which is a pretty convenient way to show the distribution of the task per team by time, by budget, and by profit they generate for you, which is pretty cool for agency owners. Oh, I have missed one thing about the budgets. I talked about fixed budget, but we also have dynamic budget. Like I can put the same worker and say like, hey, on the charts and other stuff, we can spend 5 hours, and I'd like call charts, communication, chat communications. So it doesn't go to the specific task and doesn't create a noise in the features or whatever scope we're gonna have, but reside here, and it will be topped up there in the separate category. Now the progress tab, which is very similar to what you've seen on the dashboard. Look at this, it's the same, almost. Well, what it's all about? First of all, it's a timeline. This is a perfect communication tool which represents your visual office. The people on the left are your workers. This is like only one we have here. You could see by hovering over his name, rates, billing rate, you can see this information because you're an owner, and if client won't see something owner sees like rates. He'll only see billable rates allocated and spend time if they're on time and material mode. If they're on fixed price, they won't see how much time is spent. All right, so what else? This is the check-ins that our worker has provided. You see there's like 14 hours, 16 hours. Yeah, so this is very cute. And when they finish something, 1 second. Yeah, when they finish something, it's gonna have a green label here. So that's probably it. It's very convenient on the timeline for the weekly, and you can switch to daily if you want to focus on one day. There is also the burn down chart, which shows the perfect burn down, so the rate of your finished tasks over the time and the hours left. Right now we have nothing here. If I'm gonna go for the worker and complete one of the tasks, we can see something here just for demo purposes. Let me go over authentication form. Let me actually complete it. Yeah, nice. So if I go back, refresh the page, I can see that today there is one task has been completed, and yeah, that's it. This is also some convenient tool that shows each of the progress of what's been done on a general level, like tasks in progress, completed, and left. The progress bar, the progress tab here allows you to use the Gantt chart and actually plan everything, like to give a client perspective when you exactly going to finish specific task. Um, this is the same thing you have in edit board, and why it's here as well duplicated, just in order you're not gonna miss it. Once we have such picture, when you plan everything, when you created the tasks, then you can technically publish the project, and this is the time when you will be prompted this window, because now client will receive the email notification and will be able to see what you are working with. I'm gonna make an onboarding so you could see the project from the client's perspective. Right, so I have finished the onboarding for the client perspective, from the client's perspective, and I can see it's very similar to what we see for the owners. Let me drag it a little bit. Yeah, so you can see this is for client, this is for owner. You can always check they're all here in the top right corner. And well, what's the difference? Of course, they're gonna see the different number first. So I'm in edit mode for owner, and I'm gonna go to roadmap and edit mode for client, so I can see I can see the client budget here. It's different in terms of spent. You see there's like $2. There's 938. It's more updated. I believe it's updated a little bit, so it won't be too. Yeah, it's a bit more. The client budget is what exactly the client sees. This is very convenient. Right, so from the client perspective, this is active, and if I'm gonna go here and click finish, then I should see here complete button. And once we complete this task, this milestone, it would be sealed, so nobody could affect it, so you could keep a historical information there. So yeah, that's how the project looks like. It's very similar. Client can access all of this information, and I want to show you how it would look like if I turn to the fixed price, which is very convenient because I don't need to recreate anything. I can just refresh the page, and I see the task cost and usage here. I'll go to the budget. I have not refreshed yet, that's why I see a time and material. Now I can see that there is some time spent without task, which is cool. I believe it's because I have tracked it sometime with an active milestone. And well, I can see the balance on that side from the client perspective. Technically, how much extra budget they need to invest on top of the tasks budget. They can see also the time, these expenses, the times tracked without the task, like 6 minutes in our case, or 6 seconds, whatever. So that's probably it from the client side I wanted to share. I will click the complete, and this is the final stage of the milestone here. Let me double check. Okay. So you've probably seen that I tried to stop the video to understand why I can't complete, and I completely forget about interesting thing. Again, one more reason to put the note here. So not every client can complete milestone because it's a sensitive data, and if you're as an owner go to point of contact, this is a place where all of your clients reside. You gotta make them as a main client. So the main client is the one who is most important, who can make a decision, and only after that we're gonna have it done, so it's completed now. And also if I refresh the page, which I did, for the fixed price, I see the time usage, but I don't see the budget usage. So let me recap one more time. If I go to roadmap, even for completed milestone, I probably can change it to time and material. Good. Now I should see the usage on the budget side. Yeah. And again, if I go to the budget side, switch to fixed price, I won't be able as a client to see detailed expenses here. I will only see the plant. We just left that, so it's not feels that empty, but your client won't see the information they don't need to see. Like the expense is gonna be just for what you created, the paddings. They won't see the actual usage. Well, and that's pretty it. One more thing about Worker, there is an application, desktop application. We have tracker, like it calculates the activity. It takes the snapshots, like for this guy I have used to track. There is no screenshot because I didn't use it, and we're gonna have for them to make this option as mandatory if you want that. And also for Catalina users, they will have to allow making screenshots because otherwise the application won't be able to capture them. On top of that, you have classic reporting system here, which you're going to calculate span, built-in profit. It's pretty fresh, so I believe it doesn't take the date right now. Let me select worker and refresh the page. We just worked right now. I mean, I tracked some time. Yeah, here we go. Like for Project Bravo, it shows you time spent. This is my video, which doesn't let you see a little bit more of the information here. So there's a task and time spent per task, and also without task, the lower 8 minutes. You can gather all of the reports you want. Very soon we're gonna add the export feature, so you can have it in the CSV on the file, and that probably gives you all of the information on the organization. Very convenient to run the payroll. One last thing to point is the mobile application. So we have mobile and Android applications with just chat and opportunity to check the tasks, which is very convenient if you're on the road or somewhere outside of the office. And since we built it for remote working teams, it might be very convenient for Android and iOS. And we made it light, so you're not get lost, with a lot of functionality. So you can just quickly reply to check the tasks, and you're not bothered with a lot of fancy stuff like assigning task or pushing the description. So that's it. That was like 30 minutes of overview, yet it gives the very deep explanation of how everything works. The only thing that I didn't cover, oh, by the way, there is no current milestone because we finished all of the milestones. It's also good to think to define that you're in between. Yeah, so the only thing I didn't cover here beside the clients, which is just an aggregation of all projects we have, is the team. The team settings is just the place where you can invite team members, like we did in the previous steps. It shows the total amount allocated among different projects. Right now we have just only one, and shows some other information. It also have this fancy chart which does a very simple thing. It shows you the polls of how specific worker expected to have his work. Like we had 8 hours of expected work per day, and it slowly goes a little bit up for these 20 minutes we had. Once the worker like works more or less, we're gonna show it on this chart, and it will show you how well and normally distributed the time for this specific work, and if you need to make any steps towards fixing it. And one last thing about the, yeah, by the way, if you want to have to see the timeline and check the historical progress, you can go from the settings here. And there is one more thing I want to show. There's also like worker profile, where you can go and see information about worker and generate a report just about his tasks and his projects. So that's it. Thanks for your time. Hope you enjoyed, and I really hope to see the feedback from you, whether it's clear or not. We are gonna just cover some extra cases, like how do you apply it in digital marketing space, sales, and any other kind of businesses. Thanks for your time, and have a nice productive day.